When the NFL announced that the Cowboys vs 49ers game was going to be scheduled for Week 5 of the 2023 season, it felt like perfect timing. Both teams were going to likely be over 500 or even undefeated when it was time to face off in Santa Clara. And the NFL was right. The 3-1 Cowboys are headed out to the West Coast to take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football in what should be the most watched game of the year. An age-old rivalry restored, it's Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy facing off against Micah Parsons and Nick Bosa in what should be one heck of a game. Let's get into it.
Parsons.
To start the season, the 49ers may have the best defense in all of football once again. That unit has allowed just 5 yards per pass attempt, just 3.9 yards per carry, and 5 interceptions. Needless to say, they have been dominant in every game so far. The most points a team has scored on them is just 23. Up front, the 49ers have elite defensive tackles in Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead. Both guys can rush the passer, both guys can step up and stop the run. On the edge, the Niners have Nick Bosa, the 2022 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. On 135 pass rushing snaps this year, Bosa has 9 quarterback hits, 10 quarterback hurries, but just 1 sack. Bosa did sit out of training camp, so it seems like he's still getting his feet under him to start the year. While the hits and pressures are not turning into sacks, it's only a matter of time before they do. On the second level, the 49ers have Fred Warner, who has 26 tackles and 8 run stops so far. Although Fred Warner has been the best linebacker in all of football for a couple of years now, there was one thing I noticed when looking at the numbers and tape. Fred Warner has missed a ton of tackles this year. So far, Pro Football Focus has tracked 8, 3 in 2 games and 2 in 1 game. I'm not really sure what that's about, and going against a guy like Tony Pollard this week could pose a real problem for the 49ers linebacker group. Although Warner has struggled a bit tackling, the 49ers defense has had no problem stopping the run. For the Cowboys, their offensive line has been beat up to start the year, but it looks like the Cowboys could be getting close to full strength if Zach Martin is a go on Sunday. Tyron Smith and Zach Martin have missed time up to this point, and both are still kind of toss-ups to play in this game. Hopefully Dallas can get at least one of those guys back. Right now, it doesn't seem like Tyron Smith is going to play, and that could pose a real problem for Dallas. I could see the 49ers trying to move Nick Bosa to that right side so he can face off with a guy like Chuma Edoga instead of Terrence Steele. So the Cowboys' offensive line health is going to be a major factor in this game. You really hope that you can have that unit at full strength. It's been 2 years since they've played together. Running behind that line, the Cowboys are going to have Tony Pollard, Deuce Vaughn, and likely Malik Davis. Rico Dowdle is dealing with his hip issue and will know more by Saturday. But regardless of the Cowboys running backs, the running lanes against this 49ers defense might be hard to come by. And while I do believe Dallas needs to run the ball well in this game, that is certainly not the weakness you're going to be able to exploit against the 49ers. And that leads us to a weak spot I do think the 49ers have. It's their cornerback room, a unit that has struggled at times to start the season. In the Rams game, they had a rookie wide receiver in Puka Nacua go for 15 catches and 147 yards. So I do think if the Cowboys are going to exploit one thing in this 49ers defense, it's going to be the secondary. The Cowboys have a number of weapons on the outside. It's just a matter of using them correctly. You have CeeDee Lamb, who can move all over the formation and has been the clear-cut #1 wide receiver. Dallas also has Michael Gallup, who has come to life since week 2. And then Brandon Cooks, the offseason addition that Dallas brought in to win games just like this. For Mike McCarthy and the offensive coaching staff, they're going to have to find a way to attack these corners consistently. Make that secondary make plays. And the problem is, that's been a concern for the Cowboys to start this season. They haven't attacked teams consistently down the field. They're not going to win this game if they don't stretch this defense a little bit. They're going to tackle and they're going to limit the offense if you don't push the ball and stress this defense at all 3 levels. On one side, the 49ers have number 7 Charvarius Ward, who has had a solid 2023 so far. But on the opposite side is where you might find more success. Cornerback number 2, Diamador Lenore, who has allowed 24 catches on 31 targets for 217 yards and 52 yards after the catch. There is one thing about this cornerback room for the 49ers, and that's that they can tackle. So I do worry about the West Coast offense and these receivers making these corners miss, because the 49ers have corners that can tackle. And for the Cowboys, it's a matter of will they try this strategy. The front seven of San Francisco is really too good to attack and beat consistently. Now for just a moment, let's talk about the Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, who has a lot of weight on his shoulders considering he hasn't played well against the 49ers the past 2 times. In 2 playoff games against this San Francisco defense, Prescott has failed to complete 60% of his passes while throwing 2 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Much like every other week, people are going to be paying close attention to if Dak Prescott throws interceptions. Is he the reason that this Cowboys team wins the game or the reason they lose? So far in 2023, he's completed 71% of his passes for 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. This is a big week for Dak. He needs to prove that he can be great against a top-flight defense and win games for this Cowboys team. Much like the other 2 units that we're going to talk about in just a moment, this Cowboys offense versus 49ers defense is a really fun matchup. All pros in the trenches, a star pass rusher facing off against Dak Prescott, and the 49ers linebackers matching the athleticism of these Cowboys running backs. Before we move on to the other 2 units, let's look at my picks for this week on Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do on Prize Picks is pick if a player will go for more or less than their Prize Pick projection. You already know this week I'm going with more all the way. More than 232.5 for Dak Prescott, more than 70.5 for CeeDee Lamb, more than half an interception for Justin Fields, and more than half a touchdown for Travis Kelce, because that's a no-brainer. This week, I'm going with a $50 power play. But if I wanted to go with 100, it would net me $900 if all 4 are correct. When you click the top comment on this video and use code DOUBLEMOVE, PrizePicks will give you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Even if you don't want to spend that much, PrizePicks will match $10. PrizePicks is legal to play in states like Texas, California, and Florida. So why not get in on the action? Scroll down and click the top comment on this video. When you click that link, use code DOUBLEMOVE to get your free money. And even if your team doesn't win, you might. Now, let's get back into it. The current league leader in rush yards is San Francisco's Christian McCaffrey, well ahead of DeAndre Swift. McCaffrey sits at 459 yards through 4 weeks. CMC is averaging just under 115 yards per game. 5.7 yards per carry. The Niners have beat teams down with their run game this year. McCaffrey has carried the ball on average 20 times per game and has scored 6 touchdowns so far. McCaffrey is leading the league in rushes for first downs as well. So why am I telling you all of the great things that McCaffrey's been able to do on the ground? Well, that's because it's a big weakness for Dallas. We saw the Dallas defense shut down the Jets' run game and the Patriots' run game, but we also saw this unit give up chunk plays to the Cardinals on their way to allowing 222 yards on the ground. The crazy part about Dallas's run defense is we don't know what team we're going to get any given week. We've seen them shut down the run, but we've also seen them get gashed consistently by a good offensive line and a good running back. And for San Francisco, McCaffrey isn't the only weapon. On the outside, they have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Their leading receiver to start the year has been Brandon Ayuk, a crisp and crafty route runner that is going to test Deron Bland and Stephon Gilmore all day long. The 49ers like to move him all around the formation, so we'll see him facing off against just about every Dallas corner. As for the Cowboys corners and Gilmore and Bland, we saw that unit get back on track against the Patriots. But this Niner wide receiver group is a different animal. One thing the Dallas secondary is going to have to do in this game is tackle. These 49ers wide receivers can and will break tackles. The Giants were absolutely abysmal at it, and the 49ers made them pay. Consistent tackling and getting to the ball is going to limit these short throws going for big gains. If the 49ers can get chunk plays throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage, Dallas is going to be in real trouble. For the 49ers in this game, I think they would like to play off of the run game and take advantage of a potential weakness in Dallas. But if the Cowboys do end up shutting down the run, Brock Purdy is not a bad quarterback. Instead, he's been rather good so far in 2023. 1,019 yards for 5 touchdowns to no interceptions and a completion percentage of 72.3%. With Purdy and his job in the 49ers offense, they tend to ask him to manage the game, and when the time is right, let him beat you with his arm. Now, the thing with Purdy is he doesn't have an interception to start 2023. But if you go on Pro Football Focus and you look at turnover-worthy plays, Brock Purdy is currently sitting at 5. And for the Cowboys, they have 7 interceptions to start the year, which ranks second in the NFL. While Purdy is the best quarterback this Dallas defense has faced, this is the best secondary that Purdy has seen as well. With Purdy putting the ball in harm's way, the Dallas secondary is going to have to capitalize if they get a chance to pick the ball off. One way that Dallas can generate more turnovers is by getting home with their pass rush, especially if Dallas can do it with just their front 4. If they can stop the run and rush the passer well on 3rd and long, this is where you start stealing some possessions, forcing errant throws, and getting sacks to stop drives. The Cowboys pass rush is going to be a huge piece in this game. If Brock Purdy can sit back there and be comfortable all day long, this 49ers offense is going to carve you up. Micah Parsons, who leads just about every metric imaginable for a pass rusher, he needs to show why he's the best in the league this week. And then at the defensive tackle spot, Hankins, Odigizua, and Amazi Smith are going to have to be pocket pushers and run stoppers in this game. The 49ers are going to make you be good in all facets of the game. Now, in these videos, I typically do a score prediction, but in this one, I really don't know, and I haven't made up my mind yet. So, if you want to see my prediction, I'm going to release a video either Thursday or Friday with my score prediction and some concerns for the Cowboys in this game. At the end of that video, that is where you'll find my score prediction. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I love you all. Bye.